Well, who's keeping first watch?
I will.
All right, go ahead and roll perception for me.
That would be a 26.
26, okay. Your watch goes without issue. And with a 26, you do notice at certain times of the night, you catch something moving on the horizon, your nerves begin to catch in. But you see kind of a pair of glowing eyes, but they're oddly soft, not intense. And once you make connection with them, once you both acknowledge each other, there's a sense of comfort that kind of washes through you that you can't explain.
I'm seeing unknown eyes in the dark, and it's comforting.
Oddly. And you're trying to consolidate what that means. Is this dangerous? Should you be at the ready? And you begin to look around and you can see these little, amongst the fog that gathers and the smoke of the fire that's now down to a low ember between you and your sleeping friends, you can see little wisps that kind of drift around and move for moments. With your very specific honed vision, you see dozens of small sprite-like spirits that just kind of mingle with the smoke and drift around.
And it's comforting.
In ways that you're uncertain. It feels unnatural that you're comforted by them.
Yep. I'm debating which magical person to wake up. I bump Prism in his ankle.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry.
Yeah.
Do you see that?
Do I see it?
It takes you a bit to focus, but eventually you can see it a little bit. And if you want to make a religion or arcana check, your choice.
Both are banging. It's gonna be a 26.
Jesus.
26.
Either religion or arcana.
Woof.
I'm intelligence, baby.
The best that you can gather, which is pretty solid, having not studied this intensely, but based on what you have read, recent conversations, and the spectral entity that has been guiding you on this journey, these are likely all local spirits of the woods that you traverse, themselves growing more comfortable with your presence as you pass through, and just playfully sharing the space while most of you dream.
They're like,
Problem?
sorry?
Is that a problem?
I think it might be truly the exact opposite of a problem. I think it may be like we're essentially having like a little slumber party with the local spirits. You seem like you have some sort of affinity with nature or something.
That's my mom does. Just a little.
You might be attracting them.
You see one that's kind of like drifting in the air, and it looks almost like a wisp of smoke that kind of drifts, like this gentle kind of blue-green smoke, and it kind of glides over past the sleeping Laudna, and then lifts up above, and you can see this soft pair of eyes kind of apparate towards you, and this little wisp of it in the side, this tiny little kind of oblong, dual-sided point of a spirit goes.
Does it have form, or is it more like taffy, like spirit taffy?
It's more like spirit taffy, but it has almost like a raindrop kind of small persona that comes to points in each end as it kind of just glides and drifts, and then it kind of creates a pseudopod of its energy as it waves to you and then glides off. And you see it take off, and other ones are just kind of pairing off and weaving through the branches around and playing and dancing through the smoke. And some of them are just kind of sitting on the chest of some of your companions and just watching them sleep.
Can I kind of like make a little Bigby's hand so he can kind of dance with them? Just make a little elevation so he can, if you feel called.
Lift me on a hand.
If you want to try.
If you want.
I mean, I'm not gonna argue with anything unless you're gonna
Just saying,
feed me to a demon.
It seems like they kind of want to dance with you.
Sure.
Describe what your hand looks like as it apparates.
Oh, as it apparates, unfortunately, I am from Shadowfell, so it does look like a hand from the grave.
I'm used to this by now.
But then it really dexterously glides him so that he can kind of like be amongst these little spirits.
Okay, so I'll add to that. The ride is a little strange but workable, and Orym will a little bit of a surf feel, but more the Zephyr Tom. He will, with no weapon in hand, sort of recreate similar forms and movements that he does in his sort of
That's all he knows.
practice.
As you do, kind of returning to this comfortable state and familiar, endlessly practiced forms, the glow of the firelight from beneath, you can see more of the spirits begin to pull away from the rest of the group and begin to gather, almost like a collective school of fish. But here amongst the smoke and clouds, they begin to swirl around you and this spectral dark shadow hand. As they glide up, their eyes begin to alight a little brighter, causing this almost firefly cloud-like look as they kind of spiral and curl silently around you. And it's this beautiful display, soundless almost, except for this faint bit of wind that drifts through the trees as the fog begins to pour through. And it's this beautiful connection with nature, but nature in its purest form. There's something about the life and the energy here that is extremely ancient, while also innocent and playful.
I think what Orym is thinking about while he's dancing with spirits on a giant skeletal hand is how even in the most terrible of times, and these are the most terrible times right now, we still do find moments of beauty and happiness, just here and there in moments, and that you still have to appreciate them even when they're surrounded on all sides by darkness and hardship. And as he winds down, he just with a half smile to Prism says, breath before fear and anxiety.
Take a deep breath, because I bet there's more fear ahead. Breathe it in. Love it.
I pat a large skeletal finger.
Since I think I move it, I just like nuzzle your head with it.
Yeah, it's all creaky.
Yeah.
Oh, this is such vanilla fantasy. It's been so done to death.
I like it.
Fantastic. As the spirits eventually disseminate amongst their evening revelry, some lingering and keeping their eyes, some kind of copying the one time you waved, as you see a few more kind of wave as they vanish off into the night. Your watch comes to a close and you return to rest, and the evening goes without issue. The third day of travel greets you the following morning.